Hey Ronald, Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and with the help of my GoPro camera, I'm going to show you how I cut prescription invisible bifocals for your new Versace. Let me open up the box. Let me pull out your Versace case. Of course, you got the card of authenticity that is in here that comes with all the Versace stuff. You get all the original packaging, the white leather Versace case, your frames, and your Versace cleaning cloth. I'm going to set all this down. This is your frame, which is the model number, let's see, 3182, color 5087, and it is size 53. Versace, made in Italy. Great classic English tortoise color with a bronze temple, spring hinges. You got a great frame here, so what I'm going to do is pop out the original demo lenses, the one that say Versace on them. Versace, Versace, Versace. Now I'm going to put your Italian frame into my Italian Santanelli. This is the LE1000 patternless edger. I recommend everyone go out and get one. It costs $30,000. Put it on your kitchen counter and you can cut glasses at home. So it's tracing the shape of the right lens. Now it's going to move over and trace the shape of the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed with quality. You buy a genuine, authentic Versace frame, receive free single vision prescription lenses or non-prescription fashion lenses, but in your case yours is going to be prescription, and you even got the invisible bifocal because we done went and got old, didn't we, Ronald? So I'm gonna put in your pupillary distance, which is 33 for your right eye. Got 33, 33.5 for the left. Oop, let me back up there. Hang on, let me cycle back through. There we go, 33, now 33.5 for your right eye. Your bifocal height's going to be, the invisible bifocal is going to be at 23. So I'm going to bring this number up to 23. I'm going to have to do the same thing for the right lens. Well, this is the right lens. Same thing for the left lens. Bring that number up to 23 as well. And these are polycarbonate lenses that are being cut for a plastic frame. So I went ahead and put some dots on your lenses. This is going to tell me the height of your bifocal, that red dot. So that's the tint of your lens. We got the gradient tint, so it's dark at the top and then fades to clear at the bottom. I need to attach, this is called a block. I need to attach this to your lens, so I've got one sitting in here. I've pulled the tape off to make this side sticky. I'll show you all that on your left lens. But I'm just getting everything lined up perfectly, and then we'll start cutting. So essentially what I do when I put these dots on your lenses, it gives me a straight edge to know exactly where the lens needs to be rotated to go into the frame. So let me get one of these blocks. And 3M makes these double-sided adhesive stickers. The black side is the sticky side. I'm going to stick that onto the block, pull away the tape to make this side sticky, and get everything lined up. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm looking into, essentially it's just like the crosshairs of a scope. I've got a vertical meridian and a horizontal one, and I'm getting everything lined up in with those dots perfectly. So I'm going to take the right lens, put it into the chuck, and hit the start button. So the first thing that's going to happen is these calipers are going to come down and trace the shape of the right side of your frame onto the lens, starting with the rear surface, the concave surface, the back surface, and then it's going to move over and trace the convex side of the lens to make sure it's large enough to cut out, and it barely just does. Look how close it is to that tip. Look how close it is to that edge. Boy, this lens is just large enough. The lab I order from knows exactly what they're doing. So the actual cutting wheel is down here on the bottom left. This guy owns a salon, so he knows about cutting, but he does it with scissors, not a cutting wheel. And this wheel in the center is what's going to put the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. I will have to close the door due to the sound, but for now I just want you to see as your invisible bifocal touches down on the cutting wheel. Actually, it's not too loud. I might just have to leave it open while this is cutting. Although I gotta explain some stuff, so let me get back to work. Your lenses are made out of the polycarb material. Polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. It is also virtually unbreakable. It is bulletproof up to 22 caliber. and has both UVA and UVB protection built into the lens. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin from overexposure, where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes. You never have to worry about it going away. So if you notice, the edge of your lens is still completely flat. Just like a nickel, I could take it out and set it on the counter. It would stand up on its own. You're starting to see the final shape come in. This is the nose. This is the bottom of the lens. This is the temporal, or outside of the lens. So if you notice, there is water running in the background, but polycarb cuts dry where plastic and high index cut wet. So now it's moved over to the bevel wheel, which just has a little valley and it's spinning around, and it's just enough to create a V-shaped pattern on your lens so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. So that's why it will never pop out. In just a moment, these 2 water jets will kick in. It always does that in the last 20 seconds of the cutting cycle, just to wash away any optical debris, any optical sawdust, if you will. This is the only time of the cutting cycle that water actually touches the lens. It's getting a little optical bath. I don't have a hair dryer to blow all the optical dust off, so it's got to be washed off. That's how you clean the people who come and sit in your stylish chair. This whole process takes about 15 minutes. It is now 8:28, Friday, July 18th, and it is not 61 degrees in my hometown of Durham, North Carolina. It is never 61 degrees in North Carolina in July. I just need to reset my watch or sync it to my phone a little better. So I just want to dry your lens off so it's not slippery, causing me to drop it on live TV. That's always embarrassing. But you still have a little bit of rough edges left over from the cutting cycle. So I want to go over to my handstone and smooth off any rough edges that you might have. And actually I melt them off. And this white powdery substance you see me scraping off your lens, that is called Schwarf. Essentially just more optical sawdust. And once it's all off of your lens and dropped onto the counter, I collect it neatly into one pile and then I wipe it on the floor. And this is where I say, kids, stay in school. I went to school for years to learn how to make a mess like that. So kids, if you want to grow up and make a mess, you gotta stay in school. So in order to mount the lens into your frame, I tuck it in at the outside corner, then using my thumbs, I press down and it snaps in perfectly. So let me go ahead and start cutting your left lens. I'm gonna flip that over to the left and hit start. And just like before, the calipers are gonna come down, but this time they're gonna trace the left side of your frame to make sure this lens is large enough. And hopefully it is. It was so close last time. Let's see how close it'll get to the edge this time. Not as close. Well, it's getting close. There we go. Getting close. Well, this would be embarrassing if I had to call you and say I have to reorder your lenses because they weren't large enough. I'd have to get on the phone with my lab and do some serious yelling just to get their attention. Nothing personal, just business. Lab can't be making me look bad, causing delays. So as soon as your unbreakable bulletproof lens starts to touches down on the cutting wheel, I'm going to continue to work on your right lens. So this block is no longer needed. I'm going to pull this off, throw it back in the bin there, pull the sticker off, dry that off, and you still have one red dot there in the center. Let me darken that so you folks at home can see that. I'm going to put this into my 101 Marco 101 lensometer, and I'm going to spin the axis wheel to 167. I'm going to explain what all this means in just a little bit. Put that in just above that red dot and measure the prescription. And I am getting plus 175. We got 1, 1 1/4, 150, 175, and then the next mark is 2. Now it's time to check your astigmatism correction. And we're back down below 0 to minus 1/4 because that tint looks great in that brown frame, doesn't it? It looks great. Oops, oops, don't tip over on me. The unit of measurement in the optical field is called a diopter, spelled D-I-O-P-T-E-R, and it goes in quarter increments. Starting at 0 being non-prescription, starting then going to quarter, 0.50, 0.75, 1, and so on, you're at plus 175. So without your glasses on, things are actually too small as they appear in real life. So this will actually magnify to the correct size. So you actually need 7 steps of correction to magnify to the correct size. You're on the 7th rung of a ladder, but hang on, we're coming back down. This first number actually magnifies. The second number takes away fuzzy edges. And that's what astigmatism does. It makes 6s and 8s look like the letters P and F. So you need another 8 steps of correction. You have 2 curves on your eye. Instead of being straight like a window, your eye is curved this way. You have a second curvature of your eye, which is the astigmatism. If you had the same curve all the way around, you would have no astigmatism, but you have a different curvature there. That's what the astigmatism is. It causes light to refract on the back of your retina differently than the first number. So we have plus 175, we have minus 2. When you add those together, you end up with minus 0.25. And that's where we're at. Now this last number, the 167, astigmatism is that fine-tune knob. So if you think of it as the fine-tune, we're from 0 to 180. If this were a straight line, we have 0, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, back being flat. We're going to turn that all the way to 167, which is almost at 180. Now, which is actually the axis of your left eye, which your left eye is a little bit better with the magnification. You only need 5 steps of correction there, but you actually need 9 steps for astigmatism. Most of your prescription is in the astigmatism. And then that 180, we're going to turn that knob all the way to 180. And then, of course, you need an additional 1.25 of magnification for your bifocal for anything up close. And the height of your bifocal is at 23 millimeters from the bottom of your frame. Of course, this frame sells for $215. You get free single vision lenses and the upgrade to one of the new high-end digital freeform progressive lenses. This is an Ideal Advantage high definition lens. As part of the digital freeform series made by Essilor, and you just pay the $109 to upgrade to that. So back to the handstone, back to smooth off those rough edges, back to using my thumbnail to scrape everything off, and we are good to go. Let me wipe that on the floor again. Whee! Kids, stay in school. How many times I gotta tell you? So I'm gonna tuck it in at the outside corner using my thumbs, press down at the nose, and it snaps in perfectly. So I'm going to take this block off. It is no longer needed. Pull that off. Dry your lens off. And just hold it up to the light. Let me darken that one thing so you can see and follow me at home. I'm going to spin the axis wheel of my Marco 101 lensometer to 180 to make sure everything is lined up perfectly. I'm going to put it in and read the power just above that red dot. And I'm reading 1 1/4, just past 1. And I'm going to check and spin it back the other way. And if you had $1.25 in your pocket and someone borrowed $2.25, you would actually be down $1, because when you add plus 125 to minus 225, that's, you have minus 1 left over, and that's where we're at. So that is reading perfectly. Your pupillary distance is 33 in your right eye, 33.5 in your left, for a combined 66.5. I'm going to hold this up to the light, hopefully, so you can see that. I'm going to put the 0 next to my thumb on your right lens, and when I read the dot on your left lens, we're getting 66.5, so that is made correctly too. I want to turn this way and measure 23 millimeters. That's coming out perfect. 23 millimeters there to the bottom of your frame. Hopefully you can read that. Now, the last 2 things I want to do before I ship to you is clean those red dots off. And I also like to mention that 99.9% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. So if you receive these and they're too loose or they're too tight, or they sit high on one side, because 80% of people have one ear that's higher than the other. That's why every pair of glasses needs to be adjusted, and I'm no exception. If I take mine off and I set them on the counter, they wobble because my right ear is lower than my left. So I'm going to start off putting yours on the counter and put it in a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set down, there is no wobble. Flip it over, there is no wobble. Check to make sure that each temple, of course it's cute, they'll say Versace right there. Make sure that they do, and the same amount of tension on each spring hinge, and there is. So that's that. If anyone has, and let me just show you how that tint turned out. That's pretty good, just like your windshield, dark at the top and then fades to clear. So that's going to be a really good look in this frame. But if anyone has any questions about what I can and can't do, just email me at freeprescriptionlenses@gmail.com. Ronald, I hope you enjoyed watching as I made your Versace frames with the invisible bifocal and the tint, and everyone else got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.